Hello dear colleagues, this is Errata. Today's video is about collaboration, a very important soft skill. Collaboration isn't a new concept. It has always been a necessity for humans throughout history. Individuals have always been interdependent with one another since there is always a direct interest in the well-being of other partners. In this respect, new skills and motivation appear to set the ground to group life. And this means that human beings are social species who survive and thrive through collaboration. And this collaboration continues to be an essential skill for every workplace. And what we refer to as teamwork is when a group of people come together to contribute their expertise for the benefit of a common goal, be it an objective, a project, or a mission. If we want to ask about the importance of collaboration, there are several reasons why collaboration is important, and let me refer to some. Collaboration helps with problem solving. When various talents, skills, and experiences come together, then different perspectives arise to allow for better problem solving. Collaboration also helps to bring people together for the purpose of creating a common cause and maybe set up connections to serve current objectives or future projects of an organization. Consequently, new channels of communication are opened up between people from different departments and different areas. Then new ways to communicate and share information expand. And today, with digital technology, there are so many collaboration tools facilitating communication and collaboration. In personal development, collaboration is a great learning experience. Collaboration enriches us simply. It provides us with new information, with feedback, and when collaborating with other people, you gain new perspectives, and as a result, you grow as a person. When connections are made between people to collaborate, then trust springs as a natural trait, especially among people who already have this value, the value of trust. And this gradually and naturally boosts one's morale, leading you to great energy and willingness to learn, to enrich yourself, to discover and become a better version of yourself day after day. It's true that the path towards an open mind is the willingness to listen to others' ideas, the willingness to share, and the ability to encourage people around you to carry on their work and come up with new ideas. Through collaboration, we can gain enthusiasm and inspiration because teamwork usually infuses inspiration and vigor. And the fact of collaborating with other people creates a lively and energetic atmosphere where everyone can feel enthusiastic and inspired. And now, dear 21st century educators, it is our responsibility to create and enhance collaborative learning environments among our students at all levels, primary, middle, high school, and university. And to do so, we do not only need to implement interesting activities through which our students can collaborate, but we should first think of how we can place them into groups or teams. You may say, let's just ask them to divide themselves in groups of 5 or 6, or I will just place them into groups myself and then by telling them to join this group and that group. But doesn't it seem boring where teachers do it this way? And students, aren't they reluctant to work in groups? And don't they refuse to work with some students and insist working with others? We all know it's the case and that it takes a lot of time to convince students or to arrange them into groups, especially in a traditional physical classroom, which does not always allow for different seating arrangements. From my experience, I can say that resorting to creative ways to divide students into groups has been a lifesaver for me. It actually saves a lot of headache. So I'll be sharing a number of creative ways in video series, not only this one. And in today's video, let me share the first creative way to form groups or teams. An effective way to divide students into groups is what is referred to as the 9 Belbin team roles. These are the 9 clusters of behavioral attributes identified by Dr. Meredith Belbin's research as to being effective in facilitating team progress. I put the link to Belbin's official website in the description box below. Let me clarify something. We're not supposed as educators to follow the 9 clusters by Dr. Belbin. These can be adapted according to our objectives, our needs, our students' learning styles, etc. So let me share my personal experience with you, how I do implement Belbin's roles myself. I start with the distribution of these sets of cards to students without providing any kind of clarification. I know students will certainly ask about the purpose of distributing such cards, but please don't tell them immediately. By the way, this is one of my favorite moments, suspense. And it's just good to guide your students without them complaining or being reluctant to cooperate with each other. After distributing the cards to students, you can now ask them to form groups in which there are different cards, and to avoid any kind of misunderstanding, you can project the cards or you can even hang samples on the board. Then you proceed to clarifying the role of each student according to the different cards they hold. So the card with the notebook and the pen refers to students who are supposed to take notes while discussing. Well, the secretary, if we can say. The card with the microphone refers to the student who will report the ideas orally to the whole class after an activity. The card with the clock refers to the student who will be responsible for time management in order to respect the time allotted to the activity, 10, 15, 20 minutes. So it depends on which stage your activity is implemented in, and it also depends on the importance you give to each stage in terms of time. Then the card with an image of a coordinator refers to the student who is supposed to organize discussions in terms of objectives and main points, and also in terms of delegation of different parts to discuss by different students in the group. The I card refers to the evaluator, the student who is supposed to provide a logical eye in order to evaluate the appropriateness of ideas, in addition to checking language in terms of spelling and grammar mistakes. You may say students won't be able to fulfill all these tasks. Well, there must be some bias in there. I'm joking, it's not bias. It's just that you're aware of students' abilities. So while distributing cards, you need to make a number of decisions as a teacher. You are familiar with your students, their abilities, so you distribute a card according to their different abilities. Those whom you know are comfortable with speaking orally, give them the microphone. And those who are all the time ready to show their willingness to provide support, then give them the responsibility of coordinators. And those who are still lagging behind, or those students we refer to as troublemakers, give them the role of a timekeeper. This is a way to include and not exclude those students. By the way, these decisions don't mean that you should assign the same roles to the same students in each activity. It is good to give different opportunities to different students from time to time. And again, it's up to you to decide, decision making by teachers, whenever you see it appropriate and whenever you see a student is ready to fulfill a certain task. And remember, as 21st century educators, we should let our students do their job in a student-centered learning environment while guiding, monitoring, and providing adequate learning environments where students can have several opportunities to construct their knowledge in a community of students, of course, to foster collaboration skills. This way of dividing students' roles will help students work together towards a common goal. I strongly believe that these strategies help students acquire collaboration, which is a very important soft skill necessary for their personal growth and for their professional integration later on. So, congratulations! At the end of the video, I all the time find it necessary and interesting to share a number of ideas in which you can use the 9 Belbin team roles. So let's think of a reading lesson. You can use a group activity either in the pre-reading or in the post-reading. I suggest in the pre-reading to help students brainstorm a topic before you even introduce them to a reading passage. In the post-reading, to help your students bring additional ideas to the ones they were introduced to in a reading passage. You can even think of a group activity while teaching about writing. In the pre-writing, you can ask your students to work in groups to brainstorm again over a topic, or you can implement a reading activity in the while writing stage to ask your students to write a paragraph, and you can even have groups working on a different paragraph each, and later on you can gather everything to form an essay. So that's it for today. Remember, serving you is my job, and it's also my great pleasure. So stay tuned.